What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, I am definitely a person who enjoys when a development team of one of my favorite games goes ahead out of their way to basically showcase what their next project is going to be, whether it's images, the behind the scenes music, story details, multiplayer features. It doesn't matter what it is. I just personally love when a development team comes out and talks about what their project is all about. But at the same time, I can definitely respect, even though I love that type of stuff, I can respect that style of going about releasing and, hyping up a game is very negative for just the day-to-day life of any game developer. As you can see right here, I found this article on Inside Gaming. It says Naughty Dog will stop announcing games early to avoid studio stress. Basically, the article goes into detail on why Naughty Dog is going to avoid trying to do things like this, but at the end of the day, I do believe that this is probably the best bet, not only for Naughty Dog, but for every single development team out there to probably pick up this habit. It is bad for consumers like me who love their favorite franchises, stuff like COD, Battlefield, and also being a content creator. Content creation purposes, it's good to have extra content, extra stuff to talk about from time to time. And that stuff can only be produced if leaks are coming out, if behind the scenes, information is coming out, if the developers are trying to hint at stuff for their games. Then we can speculate and come up with cool topics. But without that stuff, the community feels a bit bare bone. And funny enough, I actually just made a video about this a little while ago with Gears of War. You guys probably already watched that. And if you guys subscribed from that video, I really appreciate it. And I'm glad you're enjoying the content. But I was just saying with how that game, the lack of communication is killing me right now because I'm a hardcore Gears fan. But not hearing a single word from the developers is just driving me nuts and it's making me lose love and passion for the next project. But now that I really think about it, at the end of the day, would I want to be hyped up for the next Gears of War game or would I want a good Gears of War game? You know what I'm saying? Do I want the developers and the publishers to come out and try to finesse me with a bunch of images and a bunch of gameplay of how cool it's going to look? Or would I want them to sit back, not say a word, work as hard as possible to make sure the game is at a playable spot, and then go ahead and reveal it? To be honest, I'm kind of having a change of mindset. I'm starting to feel that maybe that is the best way to go about things, especially, really think about it. Wasn't it amazing back in the day, Call of Duty 4, World at War, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, to have all these games released without having everything spoiled ahead of time? Now, again, like I said, to be honest, nowadays, it is nice to know what the game is going to be and, to speculate and hype things up and get excited. But it was something genuinely unique about having games release without knowing a single thing about what was about to come out. It was a bit of surprise and excitement out of every single launch. And even though COD, back in the day, it was still pretty much, COD. It was almost a copy and paste. They would change a few things, around. But COD is COD. Since the beginning of time, they've always been doing the same thing. But we were still so pumped. And I feel like it was just the excitement, not knowing what is to come and knowing that anything is possible. And also, back in the day, a lot of these games, when they finally released a trailer, like I just said for the lineup of Call of Duty 4 up to Black Ops 2, let's say, all those trailers, every single time they revealed the game was pretty much at a playable spot. They weren't hyping it up ahead of time. They weren't trying to get people, to pre-order the game. They perfected the game. All they focused on was perfecting the title. They didn't want to hype it. They didn't want to focus on marketing. They wanted to focus all their time on making sure the game came out correct. And then after they finally go ahead and perfect the game, then it's time to go ahead and market it as it should be. I gotta say, that's probably the best way of doing things, especially nowadays with how complex it is to develop video games. I mean, I don't want to, make it seem like I'm giving slack to all these other developers like, Infinity Ward or Treyarch when they have all these developers working on these titles. But at the end of the day, it has become more complex to develop games. They are very difficult. They have grown. They're massive. Honestly, gaming is bigger than pretty much sports, pretty much bigger than television. It's a pretty gosh darn big industry. It's nothing small anymore. So I do understand it does take a lot of time to go ahead and develop these games. And I'm sure it's such a just massive weight off their shoulders to know they don't have to worry about a release date, to know they don't have to worry about, fixing up the game to make sure it looks as good as possible for a presentation. All they have to worry about is the game functional? Now, I might have to take back that statement about the release date because a lot of publishers do tell these developers they have a set date that they need the game by. So maybe I shouldn't use that example, but you get the point that I'm trying to make here. If worse comes to worse, crap hits the fan, the game is running into tons of issues, none of the fans or the community have massive expectations on what is to come with the game. So the developers can feel not more laid back, but they can put better work into their product instead of rushed work. Because as we all know, rushed work is 10 trillion times worse than, patient work. People who are actually passionate about the project. That is what we want out of these games. And if these developers are rushed, we're not getting any type of passion out of any of these projects. So I really do think that this is probably the best alternative. Give the developers the time they need, allow the developers to work on the game without having to stress about any other crap, and the result of that is probably better products. But it's not just the developers who are going to, win out of this scenario. I think it's a win-win for both the developers and for the community, because now the community won't have to worry about setting their expectations. I mentioned this again, a video or two back, how just us, typically humans, have some trouble with controlling our emotions, controlling our mindset, so on and so forth. I won't dive into, deeper details. You guys can listen to my other commentaries and stuff of that sort. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that some people can't help themselves. If a date is given to them or if gameplay is given to them, that's going to set their expectations extremely high. And when their expectations aren't met, they're going to be absolutely disappointed, to the point where they're going to be furious. And that sucks, but that is due mainly because the developers, or the publishers, I guess I should say, set expectations by marketing the game before making sure the game is actually polished. This post right here by Tom Henderson, which again, it's another article. I'm just going to go ahead and showcase the title of it, but I think this is going to prove my point a little bit further. Ubisoft delays Skull and Bones for the 6th time. Once again, people are outraged. The community is extremely pissed. People who are really, expecting and excited about this game are let down tremendously because 6 times in a row, they have not been able to give an official release date. Now, again, I'm fine with developers getting as much time as they need, but pushing back the date 6 times is not going to benefit the developers when they know that the public knows that the date has been pushed back 6 times, which means they're going to be coming at their necks even more, If they kept it low-key, on the low, didn't say anything about any of this information, nobody knows a release date, maybe a few, concept arts here and there, and that's it, we wouldn't be in this situation. They won't even have to tell us that they're pushing back the release date for the 6th time. It wouldn't even have to be something that's out there, publicly known. They could have completely kept it quiet. But no, here we are in that situation, and I guarantee you the developers are going through development hell. And again, I'm not talking about the developers right now because we already talked about that in the first section of this video. I was trying to emphasize more on the players and how their expectations are, messed with this type of information. But imagine if, these things were never there for your typical player. If your typical player only knew the release date when the game was ready to come out. They only saw information about the game when the game was ready to come out. Gameplay was only shown for the title when the game was ready to come out. When all of these things line up, the consumer will be a lot more happy. Because again, I don't expect everybody to be able to control their emotions on something like that. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of mental training. It's exhausting, and a lot of people don't have time for that crap. You have families, you have lives, you have work, you have school. There's a lot of stuff on your plate. I don't blame you. But like I said, in order to basically find a middle ground between those individuals and the publishers here, I think just not saying anything is perfectly fine. It might suck, especially for content creators like myself, but with all honesty, we'll be able to find content. There will still be information coming out, and not forcefully setting expectations extremely high will probably do wonders for your consumer's mindset. They won't be angry. They won't be pissed off more than likely when the game comes out, unless we're Call of Duty fans. But you get the point that I'm trying to make here. Or I hope you get the point that I'm trying to make here. Again, it's not really any facts or anything. I'm just sharing my opinions, sharing how I feel about the overall topic. Of course, you guys can go down in the comment section and let me know how you guys feel about the topic and what you think should be done. But I think this might be the way to go. Obviously, we'll never know until it actually gets implemented into the scene and we actually see how this works. Well, it will be happening, actually. So we'll see when Naughty Dog goes about their game and, they produce it and they put it out to the public. We'll see if the hype is better. We'll see if expectations are, maybe a little bit lower because they haven't seen anything before. Now they're extra excited when they first initially see it. We'll see how the full rotation goes. But at the end of the day, yeah, I personally think if I got to give my, side, my view of this whole overall situation, I think it will be much better if the developers just laid low. Maybe leaks come out here and there to help, really hardcore fans with some information and excitement. But when it comes to the developers and the publishers, maybe they should just, be a little quiet instead of opening up their mouths so much and, making things public because, like I said, that Skull and Bones situation, that sucks. The fans are going to be really pissed off to hear for the sixth time it's going to be postponed. It's a rough situation. But again, those expectations wouldn't be there if the fans didn't even know there was going to be a release date in the first place. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like. Bumps, I hate it. Leave a dislike. Also, if you're brand new, enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button. Also, want to chat with this too, we do so Twitter and Discord, both link down in the description. And also want to catch me live streams of video games, do over on Twitch. Link that's in the description as well. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace out.